Warning, there will be spoilers for the Star Wars Andor series, Episode 11, Daughter of Ferrix. If you haven't seen it, proceed with extreme caution. Cassian Andor and Melshi hold onto a cliff face for dear life. Melshi tells Cassian that he can't climb back up, that his hands won't work. Cassian assures Melshi that the TIE Patrol is leaving, giving Melshi hope that he doesn't have to hang in a desperate position any longer. The next scene switches to Marva Andor's droid, B2emo, or B for short. We see from his point of view as he listens to what's going on around him. Marva has passed away. This is the Andor Episode 11 breakdown and review, and the theme of this episode is perseverance. The first scene is the aftermath of the Narkina 5 escape. Cassian Andor and Melshi are the only two we see who have actually made it. That isn't to say others haven't, but they aren't shown if they did. The pair are clinging to a rock face hundreds of feet above the jagged surface below. Both are struggling, bleeding, and almost to the point of just letting go. Cassian isn't quite ready to give up, and he urges Melshi that they will be safe soon, although he too is tired and weak. As they cling for their lives, the scene switches. The point of view is that of Marva Andor's lovable droid, B2emo, or just B. He's listening with his optical sensor barely uncovered as those around him talk of Marva's passing. In Andor Episode 10, it was revealed that Marva Andor had stopped taking her meds. They were taking away her appetite. She knew all too well what giving up the meds meant. It was clear Marva Andor was giving up. Her adoptive son, wanted by the Empire, and her husband, being killed some years prior, had weighed on her. Now, not knowing what the fate of her fugitive son was, she was gone. Marva had obviously left a huge imprint on the population of Ferrix as news traveled and all visible were in mourning, including B2emo, or just B again. We are then taken back to Narkina 5, where Cassian Andor and Melshi have made it back up to the higher surface of the rock face. They are watching as two aliens are conversing near a transport. The plan is to run as fast as they can and steal the ship and get off-world quickly. But their plan is halted when a booby trap releases nets to capture both Cassian and Melshi. News traveled to the Imperial Security Bureau of Marva Andor's passing, where Dedra Meero gave the order to allow the funeral to happen, in hopes that it would draw Cassian Andor out of hiding. After this short scene, we go back to Narkina 5 as the pair of Narkinian aliens accuse Cassian and Melshi of being of the Empire, who had stolen the planet's water for their prison production facilities. The water that remains is spoiled, poisoned. But in a turn of fate, Cassian Andor convinces the Narkinians that they are not of the Empire, but rather escaped prisoners of the facility, and the aliens allow Cassian and Melshi to take their ship. We then return to Coruscant, where Vel Sartha goes to Luthen Rael's shop, but Luthen isn't there, so she just has to deal with Kleya, Luthen's assistant. The two go round and round, speaking of what each have done for the cause. The debate is halted when Kleya tells Vel that Vel is just one piece to the puzzle, which contains many pieces. Vel then tells Kleya of the passing of Cassian Andor's mother, Marva, and she needs the news to be passed on to Luthen Rael. Back on Ferrix, Cassian Andor's adoptive world, Brasso returns to Marva's home to find B2emo still sitting on this charger in mourning. Brasso tells B that he will be coming home with him, but B isn't ready to go just yet. Instead, he asks Brasso to stay the night there with him, so he doesn't have to be alone. Brasso agrees, but just one night. We then go to Bix, who is still in full-on interrogation mode. The torture she has withstood does not go without its effects, and it's visibly been a traumatic experience. Weakened from the torture, she's helped to a room where a holo of Anto Krieger is displayed, and Bix is asked if the face she sees is the man she introduced Cassian Andor to on Ferrix earlier in the season, thus implying they think Anto Krieger might be the rebel operative they have been looking for, known only as Axis. But we don't get to see Bix's answer. Skipping ahead a couple of scenes, we go to the hideout of Saw Gerrera, where Saul is preparing to take the offer of helping Anto Krieger in the next mission. Luthen tells Saul it's too late, that Anto's walking into a trap. An argument ensues, and Saw Gerrera's paranoia is prominently displayed, questioning if Luthen would let Saw walk into a trap. Luthen assures him he has too much to lose if Saw were ever captured. Luthen then leaves the hideout, only to be spotted by an Imperial patrol vessel. Fighting his way out, Luthen jumps to hyperspace, but not before leaving damage to the cruiser and now having his ship marked by the Empire. I did skip a couple scenes, small ones, including one with Cyril Karn learning of Marva'S death and another of Luthen speaking with Kleya. They aren't insignificant. I'm sure this will mean Cyril will run to Dedra Meero and give her the news, although it's too late, as Dedra already knows of Marva'S passing. Luthen is being urged by Kleya to return home so he can get the news of Marva'S passing as well. But now his ship has been noted as being destructive toward an Imperial vessel, and that could mean trouble if it's spotted on Coruscant. But these are pure speculative outcomes on my part. The last scene is of Cassian calling home to find out that his mother had passed. In a moment of sadness, he and Melshi decide to split up to warn anyone they can of what is going on in the Imperial prison on Narkina 5. As I said in the beginning, this episode is about perseverance. Not in every scene, nor with every character, but it's about preserving one's morals and self in the face of tragedy or otherwise adversity, not giving up when it seems there's no other option. Cassian and Melshi didn't give up on the rock face, although they really wanted to, especially Melshi. It's about carrying on and not giving in to tragedy that could change you forever, such is the case of Cassian when he learns of his mother's death. Luthen must preserve himself with now knowing it's only a matter of time before the Empire discovers it's his ship that caused the commotion against an Imperial cruiser in a known rebel and pirate hotspot. But as tragic as it is that Cassian learned of his mother's passing, and it was a sad moment, the star of this episode was B2emo, or B, as I mentioned before, Marva'S droid that had been with her since before finding Cassian Andor on Kenari. In the past, we have seen droids display a certain amount of emotion, but that emotion had its limits, showing remorse of a death of someone close to them, but not letting it keep them from functioning normally. R2-D2 was the best example of this in the past. He watched as most of those he had known died, but he carried on. B is different. He went into a deep depression, not just a certain level of remorse, but full-on trait only seen in sentient life forms up until now. This adds a whole new level to the way we can look at droids. Maybe they do carry emotion the way organic sentients do in Star Wars. Or maybe it's just deep programming. But programming would take away from the emotion we feel towards this little droid in this moment. We empathize with him, and we want to cry for him. I'm not saying there weren't great performances from the other actors and characters in this episode. Again, everything is top-notch. The writing, the directing, the acting, and the use of locations has been nothing less than superb. I'm having a hard time rating this show anything less than an 11 out of 10, but this little droid really solidified what Star Wars writing could be. I really hope his depression isn't crippling, though, because he could be a great addition to the Brasso household. Then one day, maybe he could see Cassian Andor again and feel a little joy return to his circuits. But in this episode, B2emo is the best example of perseverance. To preserve who you are in the face of adversity and tragedy. Let's hope he makes it through this intact. This is Gerald, a Star Wars fanatic, signing off, wishing you all great health, happiness, and peace. Thank you all for watching, and remember, this is the way. And positivity in the Star Wars community is the only way.